Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome, as we welcome in Berish Gesseman, Aaron Swade, Shelley Zeitlin, Mel Zachter, Shalom Fogel, Yisrael Fisher, Ben Sion Cohn, A.B. Spry, Stephen Holtzman, Michal, Irving Fishbaum, Nachman Chapler, Ruvain Pollack, Avram Schenkman, Eddie Chazan, Moshe Lehman, Ilya Shutman, Pesach Siegelman, Menachem Umansky, Rabbi Kranz, Yitzi Muller, David Helfgott. We have here Gedalia Engel back at his post. We've been missing you, Gedalia. Kramer, Rich Lenner, Saba, and we are dedicated. And Baruch Ian is already on his way to Florida. Maybe he's going to be joining us yet tonight from Florida already. We are sponsored Nishmas Esther Basyani, Yaakov Chaim Ben Ava, Avram Ben Shmuel HaKohen, by Aaron Swade for his first wife, Chana Bas Shmuel, and Freda Bas Shal, Mark Frankel, for Shalem, for Chana Bas Gittel Esther, Miriam Sarah Bas Sipora, by Ber Goldwasser for Akar Satay, for what Hashem did for the for their family and for the Chayla Yisrael, Avigdor Ben Rivka, who had chemo today, and Ayelet Ben Chava, Meir Ben Chayesar, Yudit Cyril Bas Miriam, Sandy Grunfeld has just joined us, and we have now Mark Frankel and Avi Ament coming in and joining us. Okay, it's good to have everybody here this evening. We learn, of course, as we shouldn't become desensitized. First of all, the unruly mobs in America don't let us become desensitized, but we should know that the painstaking ground war at Gaza is highly, highly, highly dangerous. Highly, highly, highly dangerous. They have to be very careful not to hurt any civilians, and behind every civilian could be a killer lurking right behind the civilian. So it's really a really very hard job facing our chayalim, and we learn that there should be Malach Gabriel should be there, and bringing a success and referral should help to cure those that are ill, and also to rescue the hostages, just like Malach Rafal went in to rescue Lot in this week's parasha. We are holding by Amar Rav Yehuda 2 lines from the top of Daf Ayin Ches Amar Aleph. The Gemara now is it follows very logically. Amar Rav Yehuda, Kohen Gadol Ba'almana, if a Kohen Gadol is with an Almana, like Shtayim, he gets flogged twice. Why? Achas mishum lo yikach, the pasuk says that he's not allowed to take an Almana, so that means he's not allowed to be Mekadosh an Almana. And v'achas mishum lo yechalel. And if you remember, we said that lo yechalel, because of the 2 lamets, we translated to be lo yechulal, that it shouldn't cause her to become a halala, which he does with sleeping with her. So therefore, he's over 2 lavim, and therefore 2 malchuses, again for lo yikach and lo yechalel. Says the Gemara, but he also is mechalel his seed, his child. The lil keinami mishum lo yechalel zarai. Says the Gemara, you're right. You're right. He really should be flogged 3 times. But here we're talking about where he didn't finish the bia. B'shaloi Gamar Biyasa, he only had the initial stage of bia, which is called hara'ah. Now, at that initial stage, he already made her disqualified, but he couldn't conceive a child, so he's not over the third lav of Lo Yechalel Zara. Harrison Kletzel has just joined us. Richard Rosenzweig has joined us. I make a big deal when Richard Rosenzweig comes on Facebook that he should join us on Zoom, so I also want to make a big deal with Akar Satayv when he does join us on Zoom. We feel very honored, and when he puts on his makeup, he'll maybe join us, let us see him, but he has to, he has a powder room or something where he has to, do his preparations. Now, Masiv Rava. Almano grusha like mishum shnei shemas. A widow and a divorcee gets 2 malchuses because she's a widow, and also she was a divorcee. And remember, we said that even if you hold ein isser chalal isser, but grusha is an isser moisef, because it adds an isser to a regular kayin. But here it seems to be you're only chayiv 2 malkuses. According to you, it should be at least 4. My love shnei shemus, like mishum shnei shemus. My love shnei shemus v'suloi, and not anymore. But according to you, it should be 4 because each one should be lo yikach and also lo yechala. So the Gemara says you're right. Well, shnei shemus al zeh. You chayiv 2 floggings for the name of a widow, or shnei shemus al zeh, and 2 floggings for a divorcee. Iachi asks the Gemara, Amos Sefer. Grusha v'chalutza ein chayiv alei akas. What does it mean he's only chayiv 1? Hachi kamer. Ein chayiv alal akas. You're chayiv only for the grusha because chalutza is only d'Rabbanan. Ula'olam shnei shemus. But for the grusha you're chayiv 2 floggings, 1 for lo yikach and 1 for lo yichal. Says Gemara, chalutza d'Rabbanan, is a chalutza forbidden to a kohen only d'Rabbanan? But we learn it out from a pasuk because it says in the pasuk, "V'isha grusha me'isha lo yikach," and we darshan v'tanya grusha, only a divorcee, ain't the other grusha. I only know that a kohen is forbidden to a divorcee. Chalutza minayin. How do I know that a kohen is forbidden to a woman that received chalitza? Talmud loyma v'isha. It says v'isha grusha. It says Gemara, no. That's not really a biblical derivative. Midrabanan. Really, the chalutz is only drabanan. Ukra, we cite a pasuk. Ukra asmachta ba'alma. That's just a mere mnemonic device. They, in order to remember it, they connected it to a pasuk, but that's not really the intent of the pasuk. Amar Abaya. Now Abaya introduces something new. Kidesh, if he's mekadeshar. Like it. Why? Because it says lo yikach. So the kicha is kiddushin. So if he's mekadesh dalmane, he gets malchus. Baal like it. If he has bia, he gets malchus because that's when he's mekayim lo yichalel, thereby making her a halala through the bia. And as the Gemara explains, kidesh like mishum lo yikach, Baal like mishum lo yichalel. Rava says no. Rava says Kiddushin without bia doesn't give even 1 malchus. Rava amar Baal like if they had bia, there's malchus. Actually, there's 2 malchuses. Loi Baal, if they didn't have bia, ain't no like it. Why? Mishum dichsiv lo yikach v'lo yichalel. You shouldn't take in order not to profane. Matam lo yikach. Why is it prohibited to take in Kiddushin? Mishum lo yichala. So therefore, Rava says if he doesn't sleep with her, so it doesn't cause her profanation. Therefore, there's no malchus even for taking her. Yeah.
How can there be malchus for being mekadosh somebody? You give her money, right?
Right.
She has to accept it.
She accepts it. It's not Kiddushin if she doesn't accept it. She does accept it.
He gets malchus because she...
That's correct. That's correct. Umayda Abaya admits, B'marzi grushasai, this is interesting. Abaya who says that normally there's malchus with Kiddushin even if it's not followed up with bia, Abaya admits that if somebody is taking back his divorced wife after she married in the interim, in other words, Chatzkel married Sarah, and then Chatzkel divorces Sarah, Sarah marries Chaim, Chaim dies, Chatzkel is not supposed to take back Sarah. If he does Mekadesh Sarah, She'im Kidesh V'loi Baal, if he's Mekadesh her and doesn't sleep with her, She'eno like it. Even Abaya agrees he doesn't get malchus. Why? Because there the pasuk says clearly that the only time taking is if she becomes his wife. To take her to be a wife. Wife means sexual relations. If he didn't sleep with her, so there's no malchus even for taking her. Rava admits with a kain gadol with almana that even though he says that if he's mekadesh and doesn't follow up with bia, there's no malchus, But the reverse is not true. If he sleeps with her, even without being Mekadesh her, there is Malchus. If he has beer with her, even though he didn't do Kiddushin, she'll like it. Why? Because he shouldn't profane. And by sleeping with her, he profanes her. He did profane her. And both are in agreement that if he takes back his divorcee after she was married in the interim, only by sleeping with her, without making Kiddushin, that's nothing. Shimbal v'loy Kiddush, that if he sleeps with her without Kiddushin, she'ena loika, because the Torah says, l'kachta, derech likuchen asra Torah. It only asses with the Isser of a lav, if he does it by way of Kiddushin, because it says l'kachta li'yisrael isha, if he sleeps with her, he will not get malchus.
Can I just clarify, when Rava says there's no Isser to be Mekadesh, but when he does Bia, he gets that Isser of Kiddushin as well, like a second?
That's correct. That's correct. Now, and if it's complete Bia, then there's 3 Isurim. Now, just getting underway over here, 4 lines into the wide lines on Ayin Ches Amud Aleph. It's really a veritable pleasure to be joined by all of you, and people want to know, what could we do? What can we do? It's a world gone crazy. It's a world gone mad. What can we do? This is definitely the very best thing we could do. There are other things we could do. We could daven. We could give a lot of charity. And people should do so. You have that beautiful picture of Rav Moshe Weinberger making tzitzis for the Chayolim. You saw that picture of Rav Moshe Weinberger making... they say that the reason why the Israeli flag is white and blue is because they recognized the white and the blue of the Tchelis of Tzitzis. They recognized that mitzvah. The white and blue of the Lavan and the Tchelis of Tzitzis. Huh?
I have a hard time believing that.
That's what they say. That's what they say. Now, don't be so jaded. Don't be so jaded.
You're talking about, Ben Gurion and his...
Don't be so jaded.
You're not talking about Netanyahu.
I know, I understand. Don't be so jaded. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, Bas Ger Zachar Kebas Chal. So Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion that if a ger has a daughter, the daughter is like the daughter of a chalal and is disqualified to a kohen. Tanya, we learned in the Brisa, Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Bas Ger Zachar Kebas Chalal Zachar, and now he sets out on proving it. Vadin. And it's logical to assume that way. Because ma chalal. Now who is a chalal? A chalal was born a kosher child. Right? Ma chalal, sheba metipa kashera. A chalal comes from a kohen gadol to a grusha. But both of them are original Jews. B'toy psula, yet the daughter is disqualified. Ger, sheba metipa psula. Who does a ger come from? A ger was born from a guy. So ger sheba metipa psula, he comes from a disqualified source. Einoi din shebitoy psula. Surely his daughter should be puzzled. So the Gemara says, I could refute that in a second. The challah was created through a sin. A kohen married a grusha. An almana married a kohen gadol. A ger's child, a ger marries a Beis Yaakov girl, is not created by a sin. So the Gemara says, Kain Gadol Bal Mani Yochiach. Now, when we say Malachol Shekin Yitzrasa Ba'Avera, we mean that the Cholol, the father, was created by a sin. Right? So the Gemara says, well, Kain Gadol B'Almana Yochiach. Kain Gadol with Almana will disprove you that there the father wasn't created by a sin. She'ein Yitzirasei Ba'Avera, and yet the child is forbidden. B'tay Psula. So the Gemara says, yeah, but there they did a sin. They did a sin. A ger marrying a Bas Yisrael, the ger wasn't created by a sin, and he didn't do a sin. So the Gemara says, well, Chol Yochiach. Chol will disprove you, because a Chol that marries a Bas Yisrael, there's no sin, they're not doing a sin. Afani obvious a ger, so therefore, the Chazar Adin. And we go around. The deficiency of one is not like the deficiency of the other. Because an Almanah Kohen Gadol is doing a sin. A Chol to Yisrael is created through a sin. Hatzada Shavashibam, the similarity, the common denominator between the two is She'enon B'roi Vakol. They're not like the majority of the community. The Chol is not like the majority of the community. The almana to the Kohen Gadol that did an Aveira is not like the majority of the community. Afani obvious a ger. So also I'll include a ger she'ena b'roi vakol. It's not like the majority of the community. Obitay psula says there's a common denominator between a chalol and a chalol that sleeps with a Beis Yaakov girl and an almana that sleeps with a Kohen Gadol. By both of them, there's a tzad Aveira. Because in the case of the Almanah Kohen Gadol, they're doing an Aveira. In the case of the Chol that sleeps with the Bas Yisrael, the Chol came about through an Aveira. The father came about through an Aveira. Says the Gemara, Leit Tema Kohen Gadol B'Almanah Yochiach, Ela Ema Mitzri Rishon Yochiach. Ooh, this is very interesting. A Mitzri Rishon, a Mitzri Rishon that sleeps with a Mitzvah Rishon. Now here, the child is puzzled to Kahuna. Child is actually puzzled to everybody. But the child is puzzled to Kahuna. There's no Aveira. Mitzri Rishon could sleep with a Mitzvah Rishona. And the Yetzirah wasn't Ba'aveira. Says the Gemara, and therefore, Ma'ai Mitzri Rishon she'kein ein roya lava bekal. Oh, Mitzri Rishon is not like a ger, because a Mitzri Rishon can't marry into Klal Yisrael. Well, Chol Yochiach, Chol is allowed to marry into the Kol. The Chazar Adin, Lo roya zeh k'roya zeh. Each one, the deficiencies is different than the other. The Chol was Yitzirasa Ba'aveira. The Mitzri Rishon is not allowed to come into the Kol. Hatzada Shavashibam, the common denominator is She'enon B'Roiv Kol. They're not like the majority of the congregation of B'tay Psula. Afani Ovi Esager, She'enon B'Roiv Kol, B'tay Psula. Says the Gemara, Mala Hatzada Shavashibam, She'kein Poislim B'Biyasam. That if they sleep with a woman, they passel her with the bia. They passel her with their bia for marrying a kohen. So the Gemara says, well, Rabbi Yehuda holds that a ger also passels a woman. Rabbi Yehuda, ger nami paisel b'biyasa, or ma'isel b'ma'atzad ma'haydin. He learns it out from this same source, and therefore, this is Rabbi Yehuda's source that we say that a ger that sleeps with a Bas Yisrael, the child is pasel l'kun. Now, actually,
I'm sorry, a Mitzri pasels bibia?
yes.
She
Yes.
does her anyway, without the bia.
No, a Mitzri passes a Mitzri Rishon that sleeps with the Yisrael passes with bia.
Oh, Mitzri Israel. Oh.
Now, we're going to learn now that there's 4 shitas about ger. We have the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda, it's the most severe Shita. We have the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda that a ger, that even if marries a Bas Yisrael, the child is not good lakuna. We're now going to learn that Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yaakov holds that as long as one parent is from Yisrael, the child could marry a Kohen. Whether the father is from Yisrael or the mother is from Yisrael, and the other parent is a ger or a giyaris, the child is kosher lakuna. We have the opinion of, we'll see another opinion that even if both parents are gerim, the child is kosher lakuna. And then we'll have the opinion, the most lenient opinion of Reb Shimon ben Yochai, that even if the child itself is a ger, but it was megaya before it's 3 years old, the child is kosher lakuna. So now let's see all those opinions. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer ger Tanya Reb Shimon ben Yochai Omer ki yoyres pchusa mibas shalosh shanim v'yom echad, a goya that converted before she was 3 years old, ksheira lakuna. Shenemar, because it says by Midian, when we took the captives from Midian, v'kol ataf benoshim, all those toddlers that were less than 3 years old, hachayu lochem, you could keep alive for you. Now, amongst those that fought Midian, was the general Pinchas. That's the job that Moshe Rabbeinu gave Pinchas, and Pinchas was a kohen. And he said, lachem, for you, v'aloi Pinchas hayiman. Now, the Rabbanan say when he said for you, it didn't mean for a wife. It means that you could keep them as slaves. Rabbanan hachiyu lachem la'avodim l'shvachis, for servants and maidservants. Now, this four-way machloikis about the children of a ger, v'kulon mikra echad darshu, they all expounded the same pasuk. Almano grusha lo yikachu lahem lenashim. Now, this is a pasuk not in the Torah. This is a pasuk in Yecheskel. Almano grusha lo yikachu lahem lenashim. Almano grusha you can't take as wives. Kiyim besulois mizera beis Yisrael. So obviously, the beginning of the pasuk is talking about a kohen gadol, because only a kohen gadol has to marry a besula, and only a kohen gadol is not allowed to marry an almana. So Rabbi Yehuda says, Kiyim besulas mizera beis Yisrael. Rabbi Yehuda holds adis kol zera mi Yisrael. Both parents have to be from Yisrael. Even if the father is a ger, the daughter is not good. Not good for kahuna. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Sava mizera, from, not all, mizera. Vafilu miksa zera, as long as one parent is from Yisrael. Rabbi Yossi says, Misha Nizru be Yisrael. That means that even if both parents are gerim, but when the child is conceived, both parents are Jewish, so it was Nizru be Yisrael, it was conceived amongst Jews, it's kosher lakuna. Reb Shimon ben Yochai Savar, he's the most lenient opinion, Misha Nizru besuleh be Yisrael. If she came into her virginity, because the virginity comes at 3 years old or one day, if she came into virginity as a Yisrael, that means she converted before she was 3, it's good. Amalei Rav Nachman l'Rava. So Rav Nachman says now to Rava, as we already are turning to Ayin Ches Amud Beis, learning to be Mekayim the mitzvah of V'dibar Tabam, La'asa Yisnachas Ruach Liyotzreinu. That pasuk that we cited in Yecheskel is a very unusual pasuk. Very unusual pasuk, as we welcome in Mo Kushner for our 28th Zoomer of the evening. And we want to welcome in the Stern family joining us. And it's good to have Shimon Klein joining us. No, I'm not sure. Is Shimon Klein here? No, that's Mo. It's good to have you, Mo. Pesach Siegelman is with us. Good to have you, Pesach. So says the Gemara, Hai Kra, the pasuk that we quoted in Yecheskel, it starts out Almana Grusha Lo Yikud L'Nashim Kiyim B'Sulam Mizer Beis Yisrael. So we said, as Yehuda from Yerushalayim is joining us, so that's obviously talking about a Kohen Gadol, but then it ends at the end of the pasuk, V'Almana Asher Ti Almana Mikoyin Yikachu. That must be talking about a regular Kohen, because it says he could take a almana. So the Gemara wonders. It's a strange pasuk. Hai kra reisha b'kohen gadol. The beginning of the pasuk seems to be talking about a kohen gadol. The seifa b'kohen edyet. Amalayin. So the Gemara says, are they psukim that in midstream change the kas of krahachi? Amalayin. Yeah. Dichsiv. It says about Shmuel. V'nera lekim terem yichbeh. And the lamp of Hashem did not yet extinguish. Ushmuel sheichei v'heichel Hashem. And Shmuel was lying in the temple of Hashem. Now, that can't be that Shmuel was lying down in the Kiddush. You could only sit if you're from Malchus Beis David. V'alo yein yeshiva ba'azara l'malchus Beis David b'lvad. So we have to do some fancy transposing of the pasuk. The lamp was not yet extinguished in the Heichel. So you see that we have to chop up the pasuk in the middle. Now, a widow that's a widow from a kohen, a regular kohen could marry. So that's strange. Only a widow from a kohen? Not a widow from Yisrael. Mikoyin in Yisrael, like. But a regular kohen could marry a widow from that was married to a Levi or Yisrael also. Hachi kamer. Mikoyin yikach. If she's a widow from a kohen, she could take mishar kohanim yikach. What it means is that a kohen could take. What does it mean, mikohen? It's coming to clarify. Not like the beginning of the pasuk that's talking about a kohen gadol, but this part of the pasuk is a widow that's an almana can be taken mishar kohanim. Besides the kohen gadol, other kohanim could take her. Tanya nami hachi. Mikoyen yikachu means mishar kohanim yikachu. In the beginning of the pasuk was talking about the kohen gadol, and the end of the pasuk says, but from other kohanim they could take a widow. Rabbi Yehuda says, min amasiyim lekuhuna yikachu. It means that if she was a widow, from those that are allowed to marry a kohen, then you could take her. And this is Rabbi Yehuda L'Shitasa that says that if she married a ger, then she can't be taken by a kohen. Rabbi Yehuda L'Tamei, the Amar Bas Ger Zacher, the daughter of a male ger, is Kabas Chol Zacher. Now, if you can't marry the daughter of a ger, then you can't marry the wife of a ger. Because kol she'atanoisei bita, if you could marry the daughter atanoisei almanusai, you can marry the widow. The kol she'atanoisei bita, if you can't marry the daughter, atanoisei almanusai. So that when it says that a kohen that is a widow from a kohen, it means a kohen that's a woman that's a widow from one who is allowed to marry a kohen. If it's a widow, however, from a ger, then you're not allowed to take her. Because since you're not allowed to take the daughter, so you're not allowed to take the widow. Reb Yaisi Aimer, af ger shenasa giyaris, even a ger that marries a giyaris, the child is kasher l'kuna, because we said, as long as Mizera Yisrael means as long as the child was Nizra Yisrael, that both parents were Jewish at the time, they both converted. Amar Rav Amnuna Mishmei De'ula Halacha K'Reb Yosi. The law is like Reb Yosi, that even the child of a ger and a gyaris is kosher to kuna. V'chein Amar Rabba Bar Chana Halacha K'Reb Yosi. However, from the time that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, Nagu Kahanim Silsul Ba'atzman, they practice a higher standard, K'Reb Eliezer ben Yaakov, that at least one of the parents have to be Yisrael. Rav Nachman says it a little bit differently. Amar Rav Nachman, Amali Huna, it was told to me by Huna, Bali Malech, if the Kohen asks advice, that he shouldn't marry unless one of the parents are original Yisrael or Bas Yisrael. Nasa, but if he marries the child of two Gerim, we don't take her away, Reb Yosi, like the opinion of Reb Yosi. And now, we learn the next Mishnah. I am delighted to say that we do have sponsors for this week's Vayera Shir. We are looking, Rabbi Isai, out there in the wild blue yonder of TorahAnytime.com, YouTube, Facebook, Kol Haloshin, Digitors, and all the other places where this year is heard, Torah Communications Network. I've been urged to put my shiurim on Spotify. I don't even know what Spotify is, but you're aware of what Spotify is? You know what it is? Yeah. Yeah. You have to make a podcast for that, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So perhaps we'll do that because people are telling me, "Oh, it's so easy in the car to listen to Spotify." So.
It's for music. It's primarily for music.
Yeah, but I saw, my son showed me that there are Magidei Shiurim that also are on there.
Yeah, you have a talk.
Yeah. So, okay, so it'll just give me, since I'm bored, it'll just give me one more thing to do over here. Mark, you know how boring it is to be a rabbi.
Listen, I definitely vote for Spotify, Rabbi.
Oh, yeah, really? Why do you say that, Mark?
It's just very easy to use.
Hey.
But listen, no pressure, Rabbi. If I have to go to YouTube or Torah Anytime, that's also.
I mean, YouTube is pretty easy, no?
It is. Actually, YouTube is very easy.
And I have to tell you that YouTube is very easy to upload to. It takes me mamish seconds to upload onto YouTube. It's right now. Have you found that the internet here has been very slow lately? Yeah, my uploading. I have to start the upload, leave it, and come down a few hours later.
It depends who you have. Most people have Optimum.
I have Optimum.
Some people have Verizon. It's probably a little better.
Is it only a little better?
I don't know, but I know everybody wants Verizon.
No, it's funny because sometimes the Optimum is lightning fast, and then I hit days. I'm wondering if it has to do with all of the work that they're doing here.
Well, their upload speed, as far as I know, is not so great. Just the download is pretty good.
Well, for me, it's important to upload
I
speed.
switched because of that.
Yeah. All right. I need to have a good upload speed. I upload in a tremendous amount, you know.
Look into getting Verizon?
I'll look into it. Is it available here?
Some houses yes, some houses no.
Really?
Yeah. Lowies have it. Some other people have it. We weren't able to get it.
Well, if you're not able to get it, what are the chances I'll be able to get it?
It looks like it's arbitrarily house by house.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
All right. I mean, I need it very much. I mean,
Right.
you know, this computer had 1 T space. I had to already almost completely download it. It was packed. 1 T, and it was packed. Anyway, okay, but anyway, I wanted to say that we are looking for one more sponsor for Bava Kama. Somebody wants to sponsor Masechtas Bava Kama in the new Seder. It's over 120 nights. It's $1,000. 718-916-3100. rmmwsi@aol.com. Now, ha'omer b'ni zeh mamzer. Chatzkel says, my son is a mamzer. Einoi nemen. Va'afilu shneim moidim alo uber shebeme'er. Even if both father and mother admit that the fetus in her womb is a mamzer, they admit, yeah, she slept with somebody else. So the child's a mamzer. Einon nemonim. They're not believed. Rabbi Yehuda says nemonim. Yeah, the father is believed. We'll see what's going on over here. What's the machlok? So first of all, the Gemara says, "Mai va'afilu shneim." What do you mean that they're even both not believed? So there's two chidushim in the even. First of all, lo mibai kamer. It builds up to a climax. Lo mibai ihu, that he's not believed. Do like him, because he doesn't know for sure. He doesn't know for sure. One thing she knows if she had the baby or not. But he doesn't know. El afilu ihi, even if she says it, to Kimla, she knows who she slept with. And he doesn't know. He can't say whether she slept with somebody else or not, necessarily. But she knows. She's not believed. And there's no question where they say it after the baby was born. So after the baby was born, the baby is assumed to be kosher, and now they're testifying against the presumption of kashrus. That the kashrus they're not believed. Even if they say while the baby is in vitro, while the baby is a fetus, it doesn't have a cheskes kashrus yet because it's not born. The less like chazak the kashrus, even so loy me'amne. Rabbi Yehuda says the father is believed. Kedetanya yakirenu le'acherim. You could let his identity become known to others. Mikanam Rabbi Yehuda neman adam loymer zeh b'ni b'char. You're believed to say, this is my son, the firstborn. That this is my son, the firstborn. That it's the child of a divorcee or a chalutza, and therefore is a chalal. And you could even say that it's the child of the child's a mamzer.
But it's not his child.
What?
These cases are his child.
Well, if he sleeps with a sister, it's his child.
Okay.
The Chachamim and the Chachamim say, Einoi neman. So the Gemara says, what did the Chachamim do with Yakir? Amalei Rav Nachman Yitzchak l'Rav Bishlam l'Rav Yehuda Hainu d'chsiv Yakir. El Rabbanon Yakir l'Amalei. Says the Gemara b'tzarech hakeira. It's talking about where he comes back with two children, twins, and we need his recognition to let us know which one is the firstborn. Lamai hilchasa. What is it nogeya? Law says like Pishnaim that it should get a double portion of Yerusha. I don't need a pasuk for that. I could say amigu. If he was lying, what does he need to lie? He could give him a double portion now. Mechayim. Says the Gemara, Pshita, Labali Kra, why do I need a pasuk? He has a migu. And the migu says, the idea of migu is we believe him because he doesn't need a lie. Because what is he gaining by lying? He gets a double portion, he could give him a bequest of a double portion. Di boy meisvele matana. Says the Gemara, the boy meisvele matana, if he wanted to give a gift, milo yavale, wouldn't he be able to give it? Says the Gemara, the pasuk is talking about that he's believed in regard to possessions that fall afterwards. Now, at the time when he gave the testimony, those possessions weren't his yet. So he wouldn't be able to give it. So it's talking about benechasim shenafalu achamikan. Says the Gemara, but according to Reb Meir, that you could give something that didn't come into the world yet, so it has a migu on that too, because if he wanted to, he could say, you have a double portion in anything that I might get. Or Reb Meir, so he has a migu, so why do you need yakir? Yakir lamali. It's talking about possessions that fall to him at the time that he's a geisus, at the time that he's in the death throes. Now, while he's in death throes, he can't give it. And even Reb Meir, who holds Adam Makna Davar Shaloi Bala Olam, that's only something that when it comes into the Olam, you would be able to give. But here, when it comes into the Olam, he wouldn't be able to give it because he's in death throes. So therefore, on that, he doesn't have a migu, yet he's believed because of Yakir. Shenafalai Kishu Gaisis, that it falls to him while he is in death throes. Now, Rabbi say we're going to learn the Mishnah Yomis now.